Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ. And at last check, we were on both services. So,
Uh-oh. We made it. The
yep,
technical difficulties have disappeared.
that's
All
right.
right, we'll see how long that lasts, but
That's
we'll
right.
take advantage of it now. It's Friday in the Riv, and I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I know that we had a picture of somebody who had a good Thanksgiving. You had it up there, CJ, before the show, and looks like he passed out right after the dinner. Yeah, that's one of our favorite pictures. So a little bit of levity to
Brighten
start
up the day.
Friday, but so I guess the big news is I guess you had a fire in your neighborhood, and but on a national scene, that female National Guard, 20-year-old female National Guard uh, died, yeah, which unfortunately I kind of knew that supposedly he shot her with an M16 in the head, and those assault rifle cause tremendous damage to anything. And yeah, James, same to you and Ryan, to you guys. I hope you all didn't eat too much bird and pass out. I have to admit I did overdo it. Uh, as you all know, I don't cook, but my daughter.
I made turkey soup with my leftovers, and it's almost gone. So,
Well, my daughter took care of me, and she brought me over a ton of stuff, and but I like the fixins. For me, on fixins Thanksgiving, I always get big stuffed shrimp, and to go with the turkey and the stuff and the dressing and the Portuguese dressing, the and I also get apple strudel with raisins from Greg's for dessert. So that
that's your
that made it
favorite.
really good. I love the apple strudel from Greg's. So
Yes, you do.
that was good, but it's unfortunate to see what's happened over there. And again, they just can't not politicize things. They're trying to blame Trump, and even though the guy came in when Biden was in office, Biden let 100,000 people in here, and they admittedly didn't vet them. They said they were going to let 2,000, and they let 100,000 in, and but it's a tragedy. The other National Guardsman is still fighting, and we wish them obviously all the best, and their families. What a devastating Thanksgiving this must have been for her family. 20 years old, and her life
You know
taken
what
away.
was interesting was the National Guardsman who died didn't want to go to Washington, D.C. She didn't want to go. But once she was there, she volunteered to stay. So that tells you something.
Yeah, you're right, CJ. So isn't that amazing? Because she probably didn't want to go. Uh, yeah, it is. It's a tremendous. But the thing is, obviously it's my opinion, but I think when she got there, she found out the good they were doing.
Right. Yeah.
They cut the murder rate in half. They dropped all the carjackings, and that city was a war zone. And people were afraid to walk out on the streets and go out after dark. And I guess she saw the good they were doing, and that scumbag. I don't know. I haven't heard anything about him, but he traveled all the way from Washington State. What is it up there? What is it with the West Coast? Do they all do they have something in the water out there? They're all like mental defectives. I don't know what is wrong with those people. I mean,
But he's not from the West Coast.
I
He
know he's
is
from
a
Afghanistan.
CIA trained operative.
Yeah. Oh, we know. And he worked with the CIA in Afghanistan for a little
Right.
while, which means that he was probably a double agent. But the CIA doesn't care. But but he lives on the West Coast. There must be something in the air or the water out there. They're all Looney Tunes. In Oregon, Portland's like a zoo. Seattle's like a zoo. They dress up in costumes and dance, and then they get violent. It's crazy. I mean, it's it's just a commentary on how badly our society has degenerated. You remember the old days? And people say, "Oh, you guys remember this?" Well, yeah, you have to. I remember the old days when people, politicians argued like hell, and then they went home and led their lives. And if some of them were actually friendly with people in the other party, they disagreed without being disagreeable. I mean, this lunacy that we see today is it's just unacceptable, really.
Well, you know what's interesting? Because we talk about it a lot about term limits. There is a movement across the country to limit the terms of our federal delegations. 3 terms for the House, 2 terms for the Senate. Do you realize that if that were in effect today, 47 senators would be ineligible to run for re-election? And hundreds of members of the House would be ineligible for re-election.
Yeah, because if you look at some of them, they're all as old as Methuselah.
Well, exactly. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that they're talking about is the fact that the House and the Senate are more like a nursing home.
Yeah.
Okay?
It's true.
It is. It's true. And the worst part is the House and the Senate won't vote to limit their terms. So now the move is on to take it to the states. 34 states need to approve locally a ballot initiative to limit the terms of the House and the Senate.
Well,
if 34 states do that, then it has to be presented to the country as a constitutional amendment.
Oh, well, hopefully we got 34 states. It'll never go through in mass. But yeah, James, you're right. The crime rate was crazy, and there were carjackings like every 5 minutes over there. They carjacked congressmen, congressional. I mean, it was an absolute war zone over there. And you're right. She tried to protest, but as soon as they see the crime rate drop and businesses are beginning to flourish again, and they couldn't. You can't argue with what's in front of your eyes. Crime rate went down. You can walk around, and look at Fall River. We don't know what's happening now. We'll switch back over to local. They got somebody from a homeless camp. I don't know if he was a homeless guy or not, but
yes, he was.
He had a gun. He was an illegal firearm. He had fentanyl. He had drugs on him. He had money on him. So I don't know whether he was really homeless or not, but he was
dealing out of the encampments. But he was dealing out of the encampments.
He was dealing in the encampments. Yep. I mean, taking advantage of people. And remember what Coogan's done about the encampments in 6 years. Nothing. Except move them around, and then every once in a while pretend that he's paying attention. Right. And we don't know anything that's going on, and I know it's a holiday weekend, but people are kind of just chilling out after Thanksgiving and letting all the food digest, and so you're not going to hear much. But we've already seen what happened in a council meeting on Tuesday, and this is going to be a race to see how many people they can get where they want them to get before the council changes. The complexion of the council and the school committee changes. So, yeah. But I mean, don't you think it's kind of important if we find a guy with a gun running around a homeless camp with drugs? And I mean, like I said, 6 years, 6 years, not one press conference, not one more than, not more than a sentence on what we're doing to make this city safer. I'm not saying we need all the specifics, but in the good old days, they used to print every crime on the police log in the Herald News. That's before they started using it as a birdcage bottom liner. But we don't know anything, and this is tragic. I mean, I live in the Flint. We had a stabbing, a shooting, another stabbing, another shooting, and blocks from my house. And I know you had some in your neighborhood, and these are not. I mean, this isn't the South Side of Chicago, and it's a neighborhood with residential neighborhood with a lot of people, and it's just unacceptable that this is the kind of government we have, that we're not told anything. Well, Jeff, this is the problem. They're not looking for an opportunity to give them the job. They're looking for an excuse to give them the job. We never hire anybody qualified. They're talking about vetting this illegal Afghan who overstayed his visa. And yeah, you're right. But they're going to put these people on. Listen, this CFO has an abysmal record. She's looked terrible in front of the council.
And she lied. She lied.
And she lied again, lost $98,000. And
even that is low. Even that
I've been told, yeah, I believe it is. But I've been told that she's got a degree in political science. That's like putting somebody with a degree in electrical engineering as the head chef in a 5-star restaurant.
I know.
I mean, that's absurd. That doesn't even speak to any semi. You wonder what we have. We have a bunch of Paul Coogans. Paul Coogan was a political hire, didn't teach in a classroom, gave him a job. I forgot what euphemistic title they attached to it, but he basically babysat the kids who had got thrown out of class. Yeah, well, this is what you get.
And he was supposed to reorganize.
Yeah, well, he reorganized
city operations. And so far, as was called out by Sean Cadine, every single project, every single one of them that he has started is still languishing in the breeze. It's unfinished.
No, you're right.
He doesn't finish anything.
Well, let's hope that this new city council sends a clear...
Now, Cliff's another ass.
Yeah, he probably made a deal to be council president. He didn't want to, make waves. And we'll give her a 1-year contract. That's 1 year to do damage.
Yeah, but guess what? She got a 3-year contract.
She's been run out of the she ran everybody out of that office. Nobody wanted to work with her.
Right.
And she hasn't proved to be very
competent. The council was promised a 1-year contract, and she was given a 3-year contract. And runaway Rumsey turned around and said, contracts are an executive decision. The city council has no control over it.
Well,
sure,
yes,
they have control over it.
They fund it.
You enter it, we don't fund it.
That's right. You give her a 3-year contract, we budget 1 year.
That's it.
We strike the other 2 years out of the contract. You pay.
That's right.
Okay? Because, this is the reason. And Cliff Ponte should have immediately reconsidered that vote when she made the $98,000 error. Yeah, and that's the problem. No, you're right. I mean, well, we've seen this before. They ask a lot of the right questions, but the only one who's consistently voting the right way is Michelle.
Right.
And this horse shit we're going to give them a chance to learn the job. See, like I said, I started on that. Paul Coogan is a classic example. He's running the city the way he grew up, a political hack who gets jobs not because he from merit, but because he knows somebody. And he can be a bum at it. He didn't teach in a classroom. He was, what the hell do they call him?
He was an adjustment counselor.
Adjustment counselor. So he never taught in a classroom because they were afraid to let him turn him loose. He might make people dumber if he tried to teach. Then he became a vice principal known for high-fiving the students or telling them to quit school. Either one. He was like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And he was very, very incompetent at that. Then he tried to become principal. They wouldn't make him a principal. And he said, oh, I'm just a vice principal. You're right. He was never put in a leadership position because he was incapable of leadership.
That's
and
right.
This is what he brings to the city of Fall River. Hire these people. They're politically connected. We like them. We don't care if they're qualified. And we'll let the city become a mess. Like the school department is a mess. Like the 74-page article about the school department said, it's a mess. This is what you get. You got a guy that doesn't even understand the word merit. We can hire people. If you hire good people, they don't need 1 million assistants and consultants. And you can pay them more. Oh, we can't pay them more. Yes, you can. Get somebody who can run a department. How many people has she gone through in that department already? And they're going to give her a 3-year contract. And there have been all kinds of allegations about her threatening people and even threatening people from the state about, oh, are you going to do it my way or else? Or else what? Are you going to lie? You've already lied about $98,000. Whoops. Oh, yeah, you just made me the CFO and I can't even get that one line item right. And it was on the agenda tonight. Isn't that kind of my job as CFO? Isn't that kind of the job that you just gave me to know the numbers? And I already fumbled. Within 30 seconds, I fumbled. But I'm going to get a 3-year contract. You wonder why this city is in trouble. You got an incompetent hiring other incompetents and saying, I'm going to leave them there for you to pay their salary for the rest of their natural life, give them a pension, and they're going to wreck the city in the process, and I'm going to be living somewhere else, not paying the taxes that I've created. So, and that's the way it is. Yeah, and hopefully the new school department, school committee is going to make some changes.
James, on the tax factor that was approved by the city council, that was the lowest tax assessment that could be given to the residential property owners. Although somehow or another, it backfired and raised the property taxes 3 cents on the residential property owner and cut 28 cents out of the commercial. I don't know why, but it did.
Yeah, because it was intentional. And we don't know. And by the way, let's get back to Runaway Rumsey with his bullshit up there, telling people his legal opinion. Well, that's an opinion. Opinions are like anal sphincters. Everybody's got one, but some work better than others because some don't close the anal cavity, and you shit all over yourself. And that's what he does. He's a bullshit artist. He graduated from Brown University. Is he a millionaire lawyer with a private practice in Boston? No.
No, but he knows how to skirt the zoning board.
That's right. And all these people that can't make it in the real world, they come to the city and make a good living. So he's in there telling them, you don't have any control. Yes, you do. You could sue him. That opinion's bullshit. You do have a right. And secondly, you fund it.
That's it.
You fund it. You don't want to give her a 3. And that's the problem with the council. They, as Shakespeare said, doth protest too much. They complain about this shit, but not once have they refused to fund it. They
Well, you know
don't
what was
do it.
interesting? It's funny you should bring that up, because when they were questioning Al Oliveira and they were citing him for all his failures, Linda Pereira had to run her mouth and she turned around. Yeah, and I'm upset about the parking decks. What the hell did the parking decks have to do with his failures? You, the city council, you, Linda Pereira, took those parking decks knowing they were dilapidated, knowing they were falling apart, knowing they needed millions of dollars of work. And you, Linda Pereira, took those parking decks. You did. Nobody else did. And the city is still giving those parking spots away. Go to Boston. See if you can find a parking space in a parking deck for 30 cents. Go ahead.
Yeah, but they're giving them to their friends, CJ. That's the way Coogan rolls. You know that. His friends get everything. And he's right. You know, look, the council's at fault too. I said before, I talked to, on numerous occasions, to one of the best lawyers in the country, public sector lawyer too, not just like there are specialists, and this guy is a specialist in public sector law, just like Raymond Reddington is a specialist in criminal law. You know, you get in trouble, you're up for murder, you know, you're going to jail. Who do you hire? You hire a guy like Reddington that's got a big reputation. Who did O.J. Simpson hire? He hired the dream team. You don't hire Hooey, Dewey, and Screwy. You don't ask Rumsey to go to court for you. Rumsey won't go to court on anything difficult. They farm it out because he's a boob. He's a boob that can't make it in the real legal world. Where's his practice? The lawyer I talked to had paid more for rent than any lawyer in his city makes annually. Even the most successful lawyer. He had an office at the back of Faneuil Hall at 200 State Street that had a private elevator from the underground parking garage that he had to pay for a spot in directly to his office. Now he is kind of semi-retired. He was in practice for years. Now he's moved his office out of Boston for his own commute, for his commuting convenience. But this guy is a specialist. And he told me, he said, listen, it's Fall River. That's every time I talk to him, his first line to me is, what do you expect? It's Fall River. And he's very familiar with Fall River. And he said, look, you can do something about it, but you got to have the balls to sue him. Take Rumsey to court. He is not a Supreme Court judge. He's a freaking lawyer. All he's doing is giving you an opinion. And like I said, opinion is like a-holes. Some of them work better than others. And he is full of shit on half his opinions. And he knows it. But they'll never take him to court. They'll just whine and complain and go, oh, well, Alan Rumsey said that we don't have any jurisdiction. Well, you got the biggest jurisdiction in the world. No money, no contract. We all know that. That's the freaking law. I mean, that's a confidential employee contract, a separate contract, not a union labor contract, but it's clear. The precedent is there in 150E. You get a contract, it's got to be approved by the authority that approves the money, and that is the city council, as every contract does. And if they reject the collective bargaining agreement, the contract's off the table, you got to rebargain it, and that's it. So they can do the same thing with those contracts. He can make the contract up because they're bargaining with him. And after they make the contract up, it goes to the council. If they do not fund the contract, regardless of whether it's a confidential employee contract or a collective bargaining agreement negotiated under Chapter 150E, if the money's gone, the contract's gone, unless the person wants to work for free. Collective bargaining wise, it's off the table. You got to go back to the table. But if you give somebody a contract and they don't fund it, well, what's the mayor going to tell you? Well, either I'll pay you out of my pocket, or you got to come here and work for free. Rent control will be on the ballot next year. Did you put that up already, CJ? And I missed it.
No, I did not.
No.
And but we did mention it 2 shows ago, I believe.
No, well, I tend to agree with that, Jay. People think that's like the cure of everything, but there have been murders over rent-controlled housing in New York City, and all these places. And this is the problem. This is the problem, because ultimately, who runs the rent control? The government. And what happens when the government runs anything?
They screw
There's
it up.
all this patronage and favoritism, and it's screwed up.
Well, you know, I remember.
You're not going to get rent control because you need a rent-controlled unit. You're going to get it because you know somebody.
Right. And I remember back in the day in New York City that people would review the obituaries to find an apartment. Because if somebody died in a rent-controlled apartment, the husband or wife could get it, the children could get it, and that was it. And after that, it went back out. And people weren't happy about that.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't seen what law is being proposed yet. But whatever it is, it's already made the cut with the Attorney General. And I guess they got the signatures. Everyone thinks that that's going to solve every problem on the housing crisis. No, the housing crisis is the way it is because of people like Paul Coogan who say, hey, guess what? We'll bring in more market rate housing. We'll have Nantucket rents. Everybody will be able to live here.
Yeah. Or live in the street. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
Listen, we've seen some communities that have done really well with affordable housing. We know.
You know that even Cambridge got rid of their rent control? Cambridge used to be a rent control city.
Listen, that's the irony of the thing. It really amazes me that these so-called, well, number one, both sides have showed that they're wrong about this.
Right.
The socialists think you can get everything for free, which you can't. It's a horror show. And these supposed capitalists that are in favor of rent control, they're not. Why are they? This state is fundamentally socialist. It's run by a bunch of left-wing democratic socialists, and they're closet socialists. So they think it's not going to help. They're going to give everything to their friends, like the Fall River Housing Authority. You know what I know at CJ. How many people do you know that knew somebody that got right into the housing authority with a 5-year wait list, but they got in 2 days?
Hey,
so this is.
I know that trying to get my mother into one of the apartments was like pulling teeth.
Yeah, no, you're right. But they're both wrong. If you build if you build sufficient affordable housing, if the government committed the money to companies, and there are companies that build it, the market itself will stabilize the rents because people are going to go to the affordable housing. The affordable housing is going to be predicated on what the market will bear, and they can make some controls on what it is. But like I said, everything they touch, they screw up. Workforce housing. Workforce housing doesn't work. It doesn't work. Why doesn't it work? Because workforce housing was created by politicians. And workforce housing means that, and they figured out, let's do it by a geographical area. We're going to set parameters. We're going to say that you can't get an apartment. Now, these are supposed to be affordable apartments. Let's go over this scenario so we understand it. I'm going to build affordable housing, but I'm going to have a bottom tier of the wage you at least have to make a minimum and a maximum. And that will keep you between market rate housing and public housing. But the only problem is, sounds great on paper, as it always does when the politicians tell you that, like the MBTA is going to fix everything. They do an area. Okay, let's do the area. Nobody in Fall River can qualify for workforce housing. Why?
Right.
Because they can't make the minimum.
That's
Because
right.
our per capita income's 31,000, and the household's 53, and you got to make like 70 minimum. Why? Because per capita income in Somerset, household income's 81,000. Westport, it's 80-some thousand. Look it up. So we're going to be stuck in with all these surrounding communities, and they're going to set a rate that the people who need the housing the most can't get. They're left out again. Yeah. Oh, yeah, right there, Louise. But, this is the irony of it. You can't look at the moral of this story is simple. You can't let the government run anything. As Groucho Marx, the famous comedian, the old comedian, some of you don't even know him. He had but he was also a political satirist. He said, government is best at finding a problem where there is none, taking years to figure out how to address it, and then screwing it all up.
And you said the secret word.
It's true. That's what they do. Tell me something the government has ever run that functions well. The Big Dig, the worst public project in the history of the world in Boston. Now, I used to drive to Boston a lot for arbitrations. It's always been a mess. They spent hundreds of billions of dollars, killed a few people in a tunnel because something dropped on their head. And it's worse now than ever.
That's right.
They didn't do a damn thing.
As a matter of fact, Rhode Island uses that as advertising.
That's right. That's right. And I remember driving to Boston to arbitration. It's a good thing I went to Boston so often. I do know my way around Boston. And every time we went in, there were detours and people were getting lost all over the city. There were all kinds of traffic jams because people were getting lost. They didn't know where they were going because they divert traffic a different way every other day. And you'd have to get off where you were going. And if you only knew one way to get there, you were screwed.
Just like the Wall Street.
Years. And then when it got done, it's worse now than it was 20 years ago.
Just like the Wall Street.
Yeah, it's a mess. Yeah. And no, you can't tell him that, James. Can't. Sorry. He don't want to listen. He said that high rents are good. Then he retracted that before the election. But we know he said it. And then he said, well, we have Nantucket rents here. Well, you're right. Nantucket rents in a place that's has one of the lowest per capita incomes in the state.
At least Nantucket has a reason. They give you a return for your rent.
Yeah.
Fall River gives you a return for your rent. Drug dealers, guns, murders, shootings, stabbings.
I mean, this is the problem, and I like it when they're talking about term limits for senators and shit. That'll and if it does go through, it'll be a miracle because
they'll find a way to circumvent it.
They'll find a way to get around it. Like I said,
right.
The Capitol people are wearing Depends to work, and they've been there for 100 years. I mean, you look at Nancy Pelosi; she looks like
I was just going to say that one.
She looks like she's mummified. I thought they found her in a crypt with King Tut. I mean, you got some of these people that look like that. The other one. I mean, some of those people like they're not now. I haven't seen what's his name around from the Senate now since he fell down. I mean, that guy's walking around like a mummy too. And
who? Mitch McConnell?
Yeah, we got people walking around up there that you're going to tell me. Look, they were dumb when they got there, and now they got mental problems because of aging. I mean, so they're totally non-functional. This is where you have Mitch McConnell.
That's what I said.
Yeah, no, yeah, Mitch McConnell. I mean, he's walking around. They got a, they look like they're mummified. I swear to God, they're wrecks. And, people should not do this. When, our forefathers didn't do this. That's what made the country what it was. Washington was asked to become king. He said, no, you might be president forever. No, I'm going to do my duty and then go back to my job and be.
That's the way it was supposed to be with the House. When
Let
the House was created,
do their
it was
public
supposed to
service
be 32 years and go back to your farm.
And my theory has always been the government stopped becoming effective when it became a lifetime career. And they get the power and they get the money and they forget about the people. Remember, think about the brilliance of our forefathers. Think about what Thomas Jefferson, all these people that were there. I mean, all of them. Madison, Benjamin Franklin. What they wrote, they'll read some of the comments. Thomas Jefferson talked about taxation, about making the government so powerful that it can give people everything they want is a government that can take everything you have.
Right.
These people were brilliant. They were 500 years ahead of their time. Think about the Constitution, the brilliance of the Constitution. And these clowns, these career politicians have just had a giant dump over every idea they had because they decided to make government a place where you get rich, even if you're stupid. I mean, look at some of these congressmen. Eric Swalwell, that guy's got the IQ of a turnip. I mean, we got these people that are Jasmine Crockett. Oh yeah, they took money from Jeffrey Epstein, or she gets caught, Dr. Jeffrey Epstein, and they gave him the money after Jeffrey Epstein died, and she says, "Well, I didn't say it was that one, did I?" So now you dumbbell, you're saying you intentionally misled the public. So you're a liar. You're not only stupid, you're a liar. You intentionally said that knowing that it wasn't that jet. So either you lied or you're stupid, or both. And in that case, it's both to the fifth power. I mean, this is what you got, and this is what you got. What about Iran, Elise? You have to be more specific than that. I've heard a few things, but I don't know what. Yeah, I mean, there's some people that is really scary, dumb. I mean, but they all have one thing in common. They're all rich. Oh yeah, well, I mean, that's the other problem. I mean, judges. We've got ex-military people that want to ignore the military and say you can disobey, and imply they can disobey orders and then never be able to cite an illegal order. Oh, right. We're just talking about the comments. No, we have judges that have now said, you're a judge. It's your job to sit in judgment, to be a neutral arbiter of this law.
Keyword, neutral. Neutral, keyword, neutral.
Yeah, Lady Justice is supposed to be holding our, and it's on our show, the scales of justice, and she's blindfolded. But these judges have taken it upon themselves. They have a jurisdiction, yet they make opinions that affect the entire country. They are telling the president of the United States what to do on a national level when they are district judges. They're in a district court. These people are crazy. They should not only be overturned, once they get overturned and attempt to exceed their authority in such an egregious manner, they should be taken out of office and disbarred. They should
That's
never
right.
be able to practice law again, because law is about justice. And these people are crazy. And you're right. And they're worse because you can't get rid of this son of a bitches. They're there for life once they get appointed.
And that's the problem. That's why I firmly believe in Massachusetts, judges should be elected and not appointed. But the liberals say you can't do that because if they're elected, they'll be judged and reelected only if they're strict in the interpretation of the law.
Okay, Annalise is coming. Yeah, she's talking about sidetrack. Well, Annalise, I've always got a problem with that stuff because this is what wrecks the Republican Party all the time, and I'm an independent, and that's why I don't like the Democrats because they're all like a bunch of lemmings. They all fly. They're just lemmings. They just follow. Whoever's in power, they just nod their head and agree because they want to stay in office, and the Republicans kill each other. Listen, I have never seen a politician that I agree 100% with, but if he's taking care of the business that is affecting my life and keeping his campaign promises, that's about all he can ask for. Some people don't even agree with what we do ourselves. Sometimes you go, Jesus, why did I do that? I don't know. But yeah, there's people that think MAGA is this tunnel that you have to do every single thing that they think MAGA means. It's like Republicans. They argue. You're a rhino. You're this. You're that. You got Marjorie Taylor Greene now leaving the party because they didn't do exactly what she wanted. Listen, that's bullshit. I'm sorry. It's impossible in a realistic world. What did he do? Okay, he's done things I don't like, but he closed the border. We got invaded by 20,000 people that they want to vote and will take our right to run our country away from us. He closed that border. He's trying to get rid of them. That's important. He tried to clean up the waste and the fraud in government. That's important. He lowered pharmaceutical prices when nobody else could because he doesn't have stocks in the pharmaceutical companies like every one of those people do, and get kickbacks from them, like Elizabeth Warren and Markey and White House. They all get kickbacks. He's doing the things that are important. Is he going to look? He does what he wants. He's the president. Is he going to do everything that I want? No. But he's doing the important things as far as I'm concerned. So, okay, if I disagree with him, I'll say I disagree with him. I do not believe the AI push that he's doing. I don't agree with it. I think AI is dangerous. But am I going to all of a sudden withdraw from the party or withdraw from, I'm not going to support the guy because he did one thing wrong. He did 5 important things really right. But he did one thing wrong, so I'm going to abandon the party. That's what's wrong with the Republicans. They're just nuts too, in a different way. At least that's my opinion. Oh, you're right, Stevie. She's made a pretty penny. I think the last one I saw with her was she made over $400,000 in campaign contributions from them. Yeah, and Pelosi's another one. I mean, her net worth is it's crazy. Listen, Israel and the Middle East will always be a problem, Annalise. Nobody's ever going to fix the problem. A Dino. I haven't heard that one in a while. In this state, we got some Dinos. People got that label, not rhinos, but for those of you who don't know that acronym, it's Democrat in name only.
Just like a rhino. Republican.
Well, something, James, this is why I'm an independent. I've never been in a party because I'm kind of like you. Listen, I am probably a little bit way right on some things. He, I am very, very, very ultra conservative about certain things, like our border, like our military, and like certain things. And I'm liberal on some issues too. I believe that this country has an obligation to help the people who can't help themselves. We're rich enough to do things for people who are drug addicted. We should not let them sleep in the streets. We should not have veterans sleeping in the streets. We should not have people who can't help themselves be in the conditions they're in. So you could say I'm pretty far left on certain social issues, and I'm pretty far right on other issues, and somewhere in between. And I have a saying, see if you agree. Most people are liberal about what they want. Listen to this now. They're liberal about what they want. They're conservative about what they have. And they're moderate about what they don't give a shit about. And that's the reality. You want to keep everything you got. You want what you want, so you'll be liberal about it. And the other stuff you don't care about. So that's it. And assess 500. Yeah, well, welcome to that. And I mean, I know Annalise called her a traitor. You know, these people with the name calling bullshit. I mean, this is the problem. They're supposed to have thicker skin than that. You know, I mean, they call Trump everything but, I mean, they've called him everything. I can't say everything but Hitler, fascist, Nazi, pedophile, the Antichrist. I don't know. You're right. That's just human decency, Annalise. And people who aren't in favor of that are not decent human beings. I'm sorry. As Gandhi said, a society can be judged by how it treats its its most helpless in its animals. So, I mean, I don't understand it. Yeah, she should be stronger than that. I gave her a lot more credit than that. I'm very disappointed in her, frankly. One thing about Trump, no matter what you call him, he'll never go away. And that's one thing. He'll fight the fight. And
he got rid of pennies. He's like a bad penny. Keeps coming back.
I thought she was more of a fighter. If that was me, I would have stayed in office and said, well, I'm going to do whatever I want to do and let the people, but some people can't, as Harry Truman said, they can't stand the heat. So she got out of the kitchen. But I was a little disappointed in her. I thought she had more chutzpah than that. I thought she'd stay there and give it a fight, and CJ and I, remember, CJ and I like a good fight. We love the House of Commons in Britain.
Yeah.
We like it when they scream at each other and nearly get into fist fights in the chambers. This is our kind of politics,
That's right.
Roll up your sleeves and get nasty. And it's a shame, but we need more people involved. They got to get to the polls. The term limits. They're always talking about fixing stuff, but did you ever notice something?
They never go to the polls to fix it.
Nothing ever gets fixed.
That's right.
But hey, it is what it is, and this city's we're gonna have a problem. I mean, I just hope, and I'm not a optimist by any means. Yeah, that's right, Annalise. Athens, Tennessee. That's it. That's what we need. I wish we could get people as involved. Tennessee, that's the volunteer state, so maybe that's why they did so well. That's where Davy Crockett came from, right? Born on a mountaintop in Tennessee. But,
that's right.
We need people. We need the people to take back the government. Teddy Roosevelt said, that it's up to the people to take back the government. And, nobody else can help us. We're going to wait for somebody to do it. And don't wait for a politician to fix the system that makes them rich and powerful. We have to be able to get our dead, butts out and do the right thing. But I'm not a pragmatist, and I'm a pragmatist. I'm not an optimist or a pessimist, but I'm being pragmatic.
But when you look at this combination of pension and salary, Paul Coogan's made at least $2 million since he's been in office.
Yep.
No question about it. No question about it.
No, you're right, Annalise. They're afraid. And you know what they're more afraid of? They're afraid that the people will get together. And that's the problem. There was an old saying they used to use in the United States a long time ago: united we stand, divided we fall. And that's what the Democratic Party is best at, dividing people. Oh, you're black. You got to hate whites. Whites hate you. You hate the whites. You're brown. You're with us until we decide that the blacks are more important than the browns, and
Right.
the pinks are more important than the green. It's called divide and conquer. The Democrats are masters at that. They're masters at fragmenting the country. And this is why Trump got in. He got the most black vote, the most Hispanic vote in a long time by a Republican, because he went into those communities and appealed to them. And that's the problem. You're right. We have to be together. It's not about color. It's about, are they doing the job for you? And I always get back to this. I hope somebody watches it and gets back to us on one of our shows. But get on YouTube and watch The Ballot or Bullets, a speech by Malcolm X, who was, as most of you should know, one of most active black separatists during that movement, with the black Muslims, and he wanted to start a separate state. He was anti everything. He wanted to keep the black. Watch that speech. What he says about the Democratic Party. What he says. It's a 54-minute speech. It is amazing to listen to. It was given in 1964. So do the math. 61 years ago. And he hit it right on the head. That speech is incredible. And what did they do when Martin Luther King went to Mecca and came back and said, I went to Mecca and I've learned something. There were blonde-haired, blue-eyed Muslims praying alongside of me. It's not the color of their skin. And guess what? He was assassinated right after that by the black Muslims.
That's it.
But watch that. It's on YouTube. It's called The Ballot of Bullets. It's 1964 speech. It's 54 minutes long. Every once in a while I watch it to remind myself that 60 years ago, we had somebody that called the Democratic Party out for what it was and called out the black people, too. He said, do it for yourself. Don't look for a handout. We should have black businesses. We should have black everything. We can be, it's up to us to pull ourselves up by our bootstraps. Don't let them keep telling you that you need them to give you a handout that you never get. So,
exactly.
Great speech.
Exactly. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. And remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Get those warm coats out because it's going to be cold this weekend. We'll see you on Monday. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.